4-win team. Two evenly matched squads ready to duke it out.
Aidenberg kicks it away. ACC football on the CW. Washington slams past the 20-yard line on the return for Washington. 21 yards on the return, and Virginia will start with the football. Tony Muskett, transfer quarterback and a senior from Springfield, Virginia, out of Monmouth in New Jersey, and here's what he did against Miami a week ago in the OT loss, James.
Yeah, he had a pretty good football game in that they've got it as an offense led by Tony. They've got to figure out a way to punch it in when they get down into the red zone. It's been one thing that's really a bugaboo for them in the Miami loss. Into the red zone 6 times with 2 touchdowns.
This is a flip to Washington, trying to turn that corner past the 30-yard line, and Washington first down yardage. Harvey on the tackle. Let's take a look at today's Impact Players, brought to you by Walmart. Walmart doesn't just have everything for the holidays. We have your thing. Welcome to your Walmart.
Well, you know all about Malik Washington, but Malachi Fields, they got to get him involved as well. And here comes Tony Muskett on the keep after the first down carry on play number 1 by Malik Washington. It'll be Muskett using those legs. He's not super elusive when he gets out there, but he can definitely go, and go is just what this offense will do on the hurry up.
With tempo for the Cavaliers, and that's past the 45. And that is a first down with a 7-yard gain from Jones. Today's Impact Players are brought to you by Walmart with Georgia Tech on D.
Yeah, got to go auctioneer with the tempo. Got Paul Moala in the middle. He's very smart, graduated already from Notre Dame. And Amari Harvey has been making big-time plays. He had the big lick on North Carolina. Tez Walker last week. Hopefully Tez Walker's okay, but it was a big hit that jarred the football loose and helping to seal the deal in the big upset win over number 17, North Carolina.
Harvey with a couple of interceptions in that secondary for Georgia Tech this season. That is Paris Jones into the pile for the 6th-year graduate student from Alexandria, Virginia. He got 3 yards. Some activity after the whistle. Walla had the tackle for Georgia Tech. Ball out near midfield for Virginia on 2nd down. Little play fake. Muskett lets it go. Inside the 50, leaping attempt. And the ball taken away by Georgia Tech and Miles Sims. Sims comes up with the interception, out leaping them all. The Cavaliers were looking for Malachi Fields. Sims got in the way of those plans.
Tony Muskett was sacked 6 times last week. It's not a sack here, but even better perhaps if you're a Jacket fan. The pressure is there, too much air under that football, and it looked for a second like Fields was going to be able to bring it down, but Miles Sims never giving up on the play and seems to take it away. Now, hometown crowd making a little bit of noise. Maybe wanted him to take a look at that. He might have had that backside down before the ball was stripped away, but it doesn't look like they'll get that replay look.
Well, Sims just took it away from the receiver for the interception, the 9th of the season for Georgia Tech. Eric Singleton Jr. on the catch from Haynes King.
Yeah, quick went Virginia on offense, and you'll get the same thing out of the sophomore, Haynes King. The transfer from Texas A&M out of Longview, Texas, East Texas product here.
Tries the same side of the field. Committee tackle by Virginia on Dominic Blaylock. Here's today's Impact Players, brought to you by Walmart. Georgia Tech on offense.
Yeah, Malik Rutherford, 6 catches, 83 yards, and the 2 touchdowns in the win over UNC. And welcome back, Dontae Smith. Both these teams have 3 good backs that can carry it for you. Here's a 3rd down and 4 after that turnover now.
47% on 3rd down, 2nd best in the ACC for Georgia Tech. King will survey the situation, direct a little traffic. Quick release, twisting grab out by the 18. That could be short of the marker. Jamal Haynes had the catch for 2 yards. That'll bring up 4th down for Georgia Tech in the punting unit.
And a nice job by Tavon Kyle. Let him break those routes off right there in front of you. Knowing where you are on that field, Coach Rudd's got this defense playing some smart football, and that's a perfect example right there. Catch it in front of me, I'll step up and make the play. Not much of a gain at all, and force him to punt.
Davies is deep. Punt from Shanahan. Back tracking at the 25. Now turning upfield and lunging for the 30. So the punt was 56 yards from Shanahan. The return was 6. Early on in the first on the CW. Back in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the grounds of the University of Virginia. Second possession for the Cavaliers. Tony Muskett is out of the game momentarily for Virginia, James, favoring his leg walking off the field recently.
Yeah, he was hit on that last throw that was intercepted by Georgia Tech. And then, interestingly enough, at the break, it looked like Colandrea was coming back in. But
that's first down yardage on the move by Mike Hollins.
Hollins has had a great season. Brosterhouse, Grady Brosterhouse, will remain in the game.
This is Hollins again, the senior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, just a yard.
So here's a look at Brosterhouse back in North Carolina. He won a couple state championships back in high school, the sophomore, and you know, it's a situation we've been told by Virginia. Colandrea, of course, has played in 4 games, so if he comes in again, there goes the red shirt.
That is the first completion of the season, Brosterhouse, and it's Washington down the sideline. 21 yards on the pass play, Brosterhouse to Washington.
Yeah, not an easy draw here in open field, but one thing you got to do is just commit and keep that heat on. You can't let Malik Washington get those shoulders turned and give him the ability to give you a shake when he's got a two-way go. You're better off just heating it up before he can get it turned around. The number 4 has been dynamic. One of the best receivers in the country. Quite a guy to get out of the transfer portal.
That's Hollins, cuts it up the middle. Inside the 30 for Hollins. And just short of the marker. 9 yards on the run by Mike Hollins. LaMiles Brooks on the stop. Brosterhouse had only had 2 rushing attempts as far as statistics are concerned prior to coming in for the injured Tony Muskett. It's Hollins again. He got 3. There is a yellow jacket down on the field after the play. So we'll step aside momentarily and check on the status of the player down for Georgia Tech.
Beautiful shot there, wasn't it? Coming back, and it's good to see Lockett up and over to the sideline. Still slow moving.
It's Horace Lockett, the redshirt freshman from Atlanta, Georgia. So he is helped to the sidelines.
Colandrea is in there now, Tom.
So he comes in for Brosterhouse. We've thrown a completion to Washington.
So, and with Colandrea being in there now, so it can no longer be a redshirt, but that's, you know, good for Colandrea, and he's had some exciting times here as the quarterback. Almost beat NC State on a Friday night about a month or so ago.
And NC State kicked the last-second field goal. This pass down near the 10 as he finds Mike Hollins. So Anthony Colandrea, you remember, James, the injury to Tony Muskett in the first game of the season. Colandrea had to start 3 games, and another jacket is down.
Yeah, this is Harvey. Could be a big hit. That's J.R. Wilson there on the catch. So here's the situation with the quarterbacks for Virginia. It's not great news for Tony Muskett. I wouldn't expect to see Muskett in there anytime soon, because we've been told here, we've had him a couple of weeks ago against North Carolina, that Grady Brosterhouse would come in if a helmet came off. You know, they needed him for a couple snaps, but if we needed him for more than just a couple snaps, we're going to have to, you know, burn that red shirt on Colandrea. And there's a look at Muskett. Seems to be moving around okay over on that sidelines. He took a hit on an interception he threw on the opening series for Virginia.
Yeah, Muskett had an injury to his non-throwing shoulder in that opening game against Tennessee for Virginia, and then missed the next 3 games and had to leave after the first series of this game. And James mentioned threw the interception for Musket, his 5th of the season. Miles Sims intercepted that pass. It's Harvey trying to shake it off and walk to his sideline.
And really upset. He'd been playing some really good ball for this defense. New defensive coordinator Kevin Schurer has been playing with some good energy and done a better job of tackling the last few weeks, and that's been the leader right there. He had that play of the game, hitting Tez Walker against North Carolina.
Yeah, the win 46-42 against North Carolina. Last Saturday night, they stormed the field at Bobby Dodd Stadium as Harvey still making his way to that sideline. Clayton Powell-Lee, number 5, coming in for Harvey. Colandrea at quarterback. Virginia in the red zone. Pass to the end zone and caught for the touchdown. Josh Rawlings, a 9-yard TD pass from Anthony Colandrea.
Well, Rawlings, Colandrea, and this whole sideline for Virginia pretty pumped. They lose their starter. Colandrea comes rolling in there and puts them right into the end zone on that 8-play scoring drive and picking right up where he left off, just finding a way to help the Hoos get into the end zone. The freshman from St. Pete, Florida.
Bet break down the AFC showdown between the Bills and Bengals inside the NFL. Free for everyone, Tuesday 8/7 Central, only on the CW. Hosted by Ryan Clark and one of the analysts, former defensive end All-American here at Virginia, Chris Long, as well. Well, Matt Ganyard will kick it away. The oldest player in college football, James. He's 34 years old and served time in the Marines as a helicopter pilot.
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years, found a little loophole to be able to play one more year.
Return from Leary. Just shy of the 30 on the return of 23 yards from Leary for Georgia Tech.
See a late flag coming in there. Guys getting up slow. Ganyard was right down there near that pile. He had a big hit in the game last week against Miami.
Personal foul, face mask, kicking team. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down. Timeout for an injured player.
There you go. Good look at it right there on the return man. So tack on 15, a little bit better field position for this Yellow Jacket offense, who's already had the ball one time, but it was a 3-and-out after that Miles Sims interception.
Tending to a Cavalier player as well. Down on the return play.
And, you know, here Tony Elliott will jog out there across the field to check on the injured Cavalier. And, you know, this was a team that really needed that bye week. After the William and Mary win, right before they headed down to Chapel Hill to take on then number 10 North Carolina, and they really took full advantage of it to freshen up and get some guys healthy. Jonathan Horton, big defensive end from Baton Rouge, just like his teammate Mike Hollins. Running back is from down Louisiana way.
All right, Bates, while we have a second, today's impact players brought to you by Walmart. It's the Cavaliers on defense.
Yeah, and Cam Robinson, just a freshman. Man, has he been big time. Big time interception in the third quarter against Miami. And man coverage, Jonas Sanker from right here in Charlottesville, the Covenant School. 8-man football. 8-man to big-time football here in his hometown. The guys are going to lean on to make some big plays against this high-powered offense today.
Sanker, the leading tackler for Virginia, although breaking some tackles is Jamal Haynes. First down and more. He's inside the 40. 18 yards on the play. Cam Robinson on the tackle.
Yeah, electric. Not a real big guy. Here's the ref cam. Good job blocking up the field by Jordan Williams to lead the way.
Georgia Tech quickly once again with a 5-yard play. Haynes gets the call on successive plays. Virginia with the 7-0 lead as we tick inside of 8 minutes to go in our first quarter. Anthony Colandrea had to come in. It was a dangerous play on the edge there at the 35 and a loss of 1. Malik Rutherford made the grab. They were on top of him quickly. King on the stop.
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion there with the quick snap. They're in the interior of this defense, but one guy who was set and ready to roll, always ready to roll, is King from his cornerback spot. Steps up and makes the big play to force a 3rd and 6.
Third down has been a strength this season, second best in the ACC. That pass sails incomplete. Overloaded to the left side with 3 receivers. King, pass, complete for first down yardage, down to the 27. A strike to Dominic Blaylock. And they convert on 4th down. They get 8 yards on the play to move the chains.
Yeah, and a great route, good timing there. Blaylock breaks it down right as he passes those sticks, and the ball's waiting on him to move the chains.
Haynes toward his own bench. Aaron Falmouy tracked him down.
Yeah, leave that grass right there on that face mask, Aaron.
Loss of 1 on the play, James.
Hustler right there. I've enjoyed watching Aaron Falmouy throughout his career.
The natural grass surface here at Scott Stadium, 93rd year. Over 500 games played on this turf, on this parcel of land. Smith spun down at the 25. Tavon Kyle had the tackle, 5-yard gain for Dontae Smith, the senior from Spring Hill, Tennessee, who had a career game a week ago. James, you mentioned it, 178 yards rushing for Smith.
Yeah, he's one guy that's fresh. He's missed a couple games earlier this season with an injury, but then went about 5 games where only had 1 carry. He was available, 1 reception against Bowling Green. So he's fresh and he can go.
3rd and 7. King looking and firing over the middle, and it's dropped. Tried to find Singleton Jr. Appeared to have space to make the catch. Could not hang on. It's 4th down.
You gotta have it. Gotta have it on the road. King knew he was going to get hit, and it's right there, right through his hands. And the freshman who can really fly for Brent Key could have had a first down and a whole lot more with his wheels. Instead, here comes the field goal unit.
41-yard attempt for Aiden Burr. Redshirt freshman, 41 yards away, and he sails it through. How about Burr now? 10 of 11 on the season, and his only miss was a blocked attempt. He's now made 8 in a row and put some points on the board for Georgia Tech. It's a 41-yard field goal from Aiden Burr. Latter stages, first quarter. Let's send it down to the sidelines and Trevor Scales.
Yeah, fellas, trying to get a read on what exactly is going on with Tony Muskett. Nothing specific from the UVA sidelines yet, but there is a significant limp in that right leg. The helmet is nowhere close to him, but he is up and supporting the teammates as they progress along. So it doesn't look like we'll see him anytime soon, as you mentioned before, Wormy, but we will certainly keep you updated as we know more.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. It'll be interesting. Like he said, it's not like he's hobbling around, but obviously the injury is enough for them to put Colandrea back in there, and he looked pretty good in early action. Muskett was injured in that Tennessee game way back beginning of the season and has been playing with that injured non-throwing shoulder. Will have to have surgery as he's walking towards the tunnel right there in that shot. He'll have to have surgery after the season, and maybe it is that shoulder again.
Jones on the return for Virginia. It's a bit of a short kick as Muskett makes his way to the locker room for the Cavaliers here at Scott Stadium. Muskett threw for 239 yards in the The OT loss at Miami did throw an interception, return for a TD, and Anthony Colandrea, he's got a TD pass in this game in the first quarter.
Yeah, and talking with Tony Elliott yesterday, we asked him, you know, you go out in the transfer portal, you know what you're looking for and what you're getting in Tony Muskett, but what did you get that you weren't expecting? He just said toughness. He said, this is one of the toughest guys I've ever been around, and here comes Colandrea with an empty load.
Colandrea's pass that bounces into the Georgia Tech bench area, looking for Grant Mish, the tight end. Jalen King was defending for the Yellow Jackets.
Nice job, Jalen King. Cut underneath it and almost had himself an interception right there. Defending Mish.
Georgia Tech leads the ACC in takeaways now with 16 after the Miles Sims interception. They'll keep it on the ground at Jones this time. Near the 30-yard line, cut down by Trenilius Tatum. Loss of 1 on the play. Man, we'll spot that football on ref cam.
Good job by Micaiah Scott to get upfield. He's working on that edge against offensive tackle Blake Steen. Steen's helmet comes off in the process, so he'll have to leave the game in a situation, whether it's Muskett, Colandrea, or Brosterhouse, that you don't want to be in for Des Kitchings in this offense is a 3rd down and 11.
First attempt on 3rd down. Colandrea buys a little time and a pump fake. Finally gets rid of it. That's completely up for grabs at the 40 and intercepted Tatum. Colandrea was dancing on the sideline, and then Tatum came away with it. There is a flag on the play as well. And it happened right where pressure was being applied to the quarterback, Colandrea.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 99. It's 15 yards from the previous spot. It'll be a 1st down.
So it'll be on Daquan Dowse. There he is coming in at the very end. And look how unfortunate. You're going to get the football with great field position, but instead you bail out the freshman, Colandrea. And yeah, he's scrappering, you know, so many times against NC State. He just willed them to move down the field and make it a football game. But that can't happen again. It's not there. Don't throw up a prayer. Live to play another down and punt it away. And the penalty flag helping out the young man right there. Fresh set of downs up at the 44-yard line.
So that negates the interception from Tatum, which would have been the 2nd of the game. This is Hollins. They'll try a different avenue out towards the edge and get toppled beyond the 45-yard line. Braylon Oliver made the tackle of Hollins, who got 3 yards. Tremendous story. Mike Hollins, well documented. Leading the team in rushing touchdowns this season with 7 for Hollins to match his jersey number as he trots to the sidelines.
Yeah, Tony Elliott telling us yesterday, for him to be playing football, both mentally and physically, is nothing short of a miracle.
Pace. Georgia Tech was ready for that rushing attempt and a loss of 2. Zeke Biggers, number 88, for the Yellow Jackets.
The big man move. That's a whole lot of body, a whole lot of hair, and a whole lot of want to. 6'6", 333 pounds, and running down the ball carrier to force another 3rd down and long. Braylon Oliver's the injured Yellow Jacket. So it gives Tony Elliott, Des Kitchings a chance to remind Colandrea, hey, if it's not there, it's not there. There's a lot of football to be played. Let's not give them any freebies with the turnovers here.
So Oliver making his way over to the Georgia Tech sideline. It's 3rd and long right now. the 44-yard line of Virginia. For Anthony Colandrea, the freshman from St. Petersburg, Florida. He's come in for the injured Tony Muskie, who started this game. Colandrea will tuck it and run it across midfield. Puts the shoulder down. Takes on the contact at the 41 or 2. Jamal King made the stop.
That shouldn't surprise anybody in this house, because he put the shake on Peyton Wilson in the open field a couple times. And how about the toughness at the end to lower the hat and go helmet to helmet and not go down?
Now passes it to Washington, and the ball pops out, and it's ruled incomplete. So Colandrea went for the 15-yard run, taking on the shoulder hit. At the end of that rush, here it is.
Look at that. Boom. Jamal King stepping up. They go hat to hat. King's got to wrap up. He gets another chance at doing just that. But the damage is done. And maybe a little bell rung over there for 14.
Trevor?
We had spoken about Anthony Colandrea's leadership style as opposed to Tony Muskett's, and the yin and yang that they offer. This brother is all energy as a true freshman, and you saw it on that run, and even more so in the plays that he's willing to make on a constant basis.
Yeah, Trevor, his pass there was deflected. He was looking for Cedarian Harrison and Eddie Kelly. Number 97, that close, he's saying, just that close. He did get a fingertip on the football.
Yeah, Kelly transferred from USF from right there in Orlando, Florida. Almost had a big play of his own. And Trevor, you're right, but it can be good most of the time. But every now and then, like that third down play they got back, you can't be too much over the top and too excited to go try to make those plays where you force it. So here's another big third down.
Last time it was Colandrea on the run. This time it's a pass that flutters out to the 35-yard line to JR Wilson, who gobbles it up but will go no further. 6 yards for Wilson. And so that's 4th and 4. Hey, Colandrea's still out of the field right now for Virginia.
Well, with Muskett off to the locker room, that will be your guy right there, Wahoo fans. The former Lakewood Spartan down in South St. Pete.
So if they do follow through with the snap, 7 of 12 on 4th down on the season for Virginia. Maybe trying to make the Jackets jump here. They will snap it. Colandrea again. Couple of moves. Batters his way inside the 30. He's got a first down. Colandrea does it again. First on 3rd down, James, and now with the rush on 4th down. 7 yards.
I mean, once again, this time it's right up the gut. He sees it there, and boom, he's not running over a safety here. He's running over a linebacker. Again, helmet to helmet with the collisions. Like, you know, hey, thanks for getting the first downs, but man, we're going to need you.
Colandrea, James, throwing around that 5'11", 180-pound freshman frame.
Right. I mean, you know, you look on the other side of the field, and Haynes King is 6'3", 204, but this guy Colandrea, he's not huge.
On 2nd and 6, his pass incomplete. Almost connecting with Fields, a jarring hit, and the ball came out bouncing on the turf. LaMiles Brooks with the hit for Georgia Tech.
Good job. Nice reaction and break on a perfectly thrown football by LaMiles Brooks. And that's 2 now. Malachi Fields has had that football in his hands. One was ripped away from him for an interception. This one knocked away. And just like Malik Washington's been making these big-time plays, Malachi Fields, these 50-50-ish type balls, he's got to find a way to fight and hang on to them.
Colandrea got his first start against James Madison, a close loss where he threw 2 TD passes. He's pressured this time, and he goes down. Colandrea is sacked. Kyle Kennard, the Georgia Tech junior, and a 7-yard loss.
Yeah, he walks Blake Steele right back into the lap of Colandrea. I mean, that's just pure power for the junior from Atlanta, 6'5", 238. Great strength with those angles, with those arms, and in a hurry right there to knock it down in a big loss. So here comes a field goal try for the Wahoos.
Sixth sack of the season for Kennard, who had 4 at Wake Forest, and now a 48-yard attempt. Will Bettridge. Not quite enough. So from 48 yards away, Bettridge comes up.
He's been so big for him. As long was a 47, and just as we go to break, missed a 48-yarder there, just a little bit short.
Georgia Tech football with Haynes to start the second quarter. Tom Wormy, James Bates, Trevor Scales on the sidelines. Our outstanding ACC football production crew with you on the grounds of the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia, for the 45th all-time meeting between the teams. Virginia has won the last 3 between these two teams. 6 yards in the previous play. They flip it out to Haynes again, trying to make his way towards the sticks in the neighborhood of the 40-yard line. That'll present 3rd and short for Brent Key and Georgia Tech. 3 yards on the play. Haynes.
Nice little play call there by Buster Faulkner to get him outside, but an excellent job of filling by Jonas Sanker.
Georgia Tech, that's near the marker. They had been 0 for 3 on 3rd down attempts. Singleton Jr. tackled by Sanker, and that is enough. The down marker is changed to 1, and the chains are greased and moving.
Well, Singleton hanging on to that one. He dropped a big 3rd down try earlier in the first.
King going deep. Too far for everybody. Christian Leary was the closest Yellow Jacket receiver. Caleb Hardy was back there along with Trayvon Kyle. Teams played in Atlanta a season ago, a 16-9 win for Virginia.
How about this look?
Yeah.
Ref cam. Keep it on there. I want to see the whole game, ref cam.
We'll see it again. It's up close to midfield for Haynes King, 6 yards.
King doing a good job to get a big chunk of that 2nd down and 10 there. And he can go too. He can outrun guys. He has 2 runs the last 2 weeks, over 50 yards. Right here, a situation where they need 3 for head coach Brent Key.
Georgia Tech, 3rd most improved offense in the football bowl subdivision. They've got the first down into Virginia territory with Dontae Smith. 8 yards on the carry and a first down.
Nice job by that offensive line. Coach Wade, the offensive line coach for the Yellow Jackets, and their offensive line GA, as Coach Brent Key says.
It's a more modest gain for the 2nd best offense in the ACC. Georgia Tech averages 459 yards of total offense per game. Last week, James, 635 yards of total offense, and there is a player down.
Hate to see this. Josh Ahern, who had surgery.
Hall of Fame, which is in Atlanta. 1st year of eligibility, and he's going in 4 times. His teams won the Coastal Division. No divisions this season, James. Georgia Tech on the move. This is the 8th play of the drive for the Yellow Jackets. That was last week, that ceremony for Coach Johnson, who's been so nice and gracious to us over the years.
Yeah, 2 national titles back at Georgia Southern, and well, just the way Paul Johnson would like it to get that first down. Right up the gut, right? A little bit different. Got the big guys up there taking guys, defensive guys, to the ground, but they're doing it a little bit different. Not quite as many cut blocks. It used to be a big curveball for football teams to go against that option offense that would come at them in mid-season.
348 yards rushing a week ago against North Carolina. That's to the 20 for Dontae Smith and a first down. He got 11, forging up the middle.
Here's a look from that ref cam. James Jackson hopping across that gap and cutting it back against him. And here's one thing, it's working. It's working for Brent Key, Buster Faulkner in this offense on the ground. Until they can stop it, you got to keep on hitting. It's one thing that Virginia did a good job with Hampton a couple weeks ago, shutting him down.
Into the red zone for Georgia Tech, 9th in the ACC red zone offense. Dylan Leonard Reinforcements come to tackle Leonard after a 5-yard gain. He's a senior from Milton, Georgia. So the methodical drive for Georgia Tech continues, trailing 7-3.
Cam Robinson, freshman linebacker this time, on his knee. We saw just a few moments ago Josh Ahern go out of the game, another linebacker.
So while we have a second, obviously the ACC has added 3 schools to the mix.
Not official, fellas, but we did see Tony Muskett return from the locker room to the sidelines. No shoulder pads and a right walking boot on his foot. Immediately loved up the teammates. It felt like there was a bit of understanding amongst all of them that he will not return. But again, we'll keep you posted on if we get anything official.
All right, thank you, Trevor. And there he is next to the new guy. And Colandrea, as Tony Elliott looks on, trying to get a stop from his defense as Georgia Tech tries to take the lead.
12th play of the drive. This is the 8th rushing play. Dontae Smith rolls up near the 11-yard line or so. That first down marker is just inside the 10. Check in on ref cam after the 5-yard gain. I mean, you can't get any closer to the action than that, Bates. That ball spotted and ready to go. Georgia Tech looking for short yardage and a first down. It's going to be close. It's Smith. He ran into Paul Akiri. And again, that marker right there near the 10. And that is first and goal for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Dontae Smith, he's not a huge guy. Akiri goes 6'4", 250, and he hit him back behind the line of scrimmage. But a good job by Smith to keep those legs driving and move it up down the first down yardage.
So from the 10, trailing 7-3 here in the second quarter. Handoff right side, Smith. And the gap closed up fast. No gain for Dontae Smith, the senior.
Cavalier fans saying this is a little more like it. They're used to this defensive line stuffing just about everything right there at the line of scrimmage. Georgia Tech has had some success early in this football game behind that big offensive line, a healthy offensive line. And when your head coach is a former offensive lineman right there at that school, you better expect him to play some good ball up front.
Pass just inside the 10, twisting down near the 5. Dylan Leonard wrapped up by Sanker, and there are 2 markers out on the field. Saw that initial indication of a face mask. Jeff Flanagan is our referee. Our umpire, Michael Wooten, is wearing the ref cam.
Personal foul, face mask, number 20, defense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
Sanker, a good job in open field, but he just gets a piece of that face mask. You see, he felt it and let go of it in a hurry. That's why he had the surprise on his face. He couldn't believe it, but they just saw that hand and then the throwdown. And I guess didn't see him take that hand off. But Jonas Sanker with the flag thrown on him. There's a look at him right there in the back.
First and goal after the penalty. King has it and he walks in untouched. Faked a little toss to his right and then took it to the end zone for the Yellow Jackets.
Nice play call here, Tom, by offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner. Get those guys, those aggressive backers. You get them on the fly, get them out of there, trying to go make the play on the fake. And an easy stroll into the end zone for Haynes King. Little fake to the side and untouched into the...
And Duke, the defending champs in the ACC, on the road to take on the Yellow Jackets in Atlanta. Check it out on December 2nd as ACC basketball comes to the CW. Here in Charlottesville, it's ACC football and a 10-7 lead for Georgia Tech. It's kind of a short kickoff there. Returned up near the 33 or 14 yards on the return. It was Grant Mish made the play. Georgia Tech, in their game, James, against North Carolina last week, 4 times they trailed by double digits in that game, and they came back every single time to win that game against a ranked North Carolina team, number 17 in the nation.
You know, and it says so much about Brent Key's team and the leadership there throughout the coaching staff and in the locker room especially, because how many times have we seen this season where they've had big leads at halftime? You know, even against Bowling Green, they're up 14 at half and find a way to lose the game. You know, up big on Louisville to start the season. But to be able against, you know, what was a week before when Virginia had them, a top 10 team, and then 17th ranked team, regardless, one of the best teams in the ACC, to just not give up and just keep on fighting. That says a lot. Here's your 2nd and 3 now.
Pace. Only 2 yards for Pace. So 3rd and short. Pace looked like he lost his footing there a little bit. On the touchdown throw from Colandrea to Rollins earlier, the misdirection while he was coming out of the backfield, he slipped. Yeah, Pace just ran to the sideline for this 3rd down play. A TD catch by Rollins, the first of his career for the senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Here's 3rd and short. That's Colandrea under the ball, pop out near midfield. Georgia Tech says it has the ball, and the officials agree. The fumble and the recovery by Georgia Tech as Jalen King falls on it for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, you got to love the scrap of the young quarterback Colandrea, but you've got to take care of that football first.
After the turnover, 2nd of the game for Virginia, and the fumble recovery, Georgia Tech has the ball just into Virginia territory. They may lose some yardage here, though. This one, Haynes King, he lost 1. Smiley spun him down for Virginia.
Great job by Smiley to come down the line. Here's one more look at the forced fumble by Keenan Johnson, the recovery by Jalen King, and this defense just keeps on coming. One more fumble recovery. They lead the ACC coming in with 7. Now it's 8.
King flutters that pass near the 40, a twisting grab and caught. Just near the 40-yard line. Malik Rutherford, what an adjustment to that ball, and 12 yards on the play. Westfall was defending. Yeah, and a nice throw here by King. He's got to drop it right in that window in the zone over the near defender. A nice pickup. Smith on the handoff. He got him around the ankles and pulled him down to the turf. Josh Ahern on the tackle. There is no gain. There you go, Ahern back in there. He left the game earlier. Mentioned he had surgery, missed a couple weeks. Tough to keep him off the field, the linebacker, a senior. On 2nd down, send it out to Leary. He gets ridden down. Jonas Sanker, only a yard on the play. Jonas Sanker's all over the field. Big play after big play, forcing the 3rd and long here. They'll bring 4. King got it away. Incomplete. Dylan Leonard unable to hang on. Gotta have it. This time it's Leonard. We saw one, would have been a conversion earlier on 3rd down, and a little bit out in front, but chance at it anyway, and taking one more chance at it here on this series for a 1st down. On 4th down they'll go. Yeah, they had converted 4 3rd downs on that previous drive and finished off by the rush by King for the touchdown. 1 for 1 on 4th down in the game for Georgia Tech. Play clock. It's going to expire.
Delay game. Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down. Clock will start on my signal. Excuse me, on the snap.
So Georgia Tech, which had converted a 4th down, electing not to snap it. We're just inside of 6 minutes to go in our second quarter. Family weekend here in Charlottesville. It is 4th down for Georgia Tech, leading 10-7. Haynes King with a 3-yard TD run here in the second quarter, and an Aidenberg field goal in the first quarter, James, of 41 yards. The scoring for the Yellow Jackets, and David Shanahan is into punt. Ethan Davies is deep. Checks up near the 5, and that'll be downed just beyond the 5-yard line.
Shanahan, that wouldn't have.
We'll hear more on how this Virginia football team has become more of a family than anything. We'll get you Week 10 highlights around the conference, as well as highlights from our game here at Scott Stadium. It's all coming up for you at the break. Currently, Georgia Tech leading at the moment. Get you back up to the booth.
All right, Trev. It's a 4-yard gain, Paris Jones. Virginia with the football deep in its own territory. Latter stages of our second quarter. Georgia Tech stops the run again.
That's one way to knock down one of the most electric players in college football. Jet sweep, not let him get his shoulders turn north and south, and the penetration to shut it down in a hurry. So a 3rd down and 7 now for Colandrea, and this offense near their own goal line.
That last play officially a pass as Colandrea flipped it forward to a streaking Washington. Washington, the transfer from Northwestern. Colandrea's pass is incomplete. Grant Mish couldn't hang on. LaMiles Brooks was there defensively. And it's 4th down in a hurry for Virginia.
Nice job, LaMiles Brooks, just sitting on those sticks, knowing where they're going to break those routes off at. Knowing his place on the field where they're trying to get. Good reaction to break it up. It should be excellent field position here for the Yellow Jackets after this punt.
First 3 and out of the game for Virginia. Sparks on the punt. Backtracking Blaylock. Blaylock to his own 40, and now up to midfield. He's on the Virginia side of the 50 on the return by Blaylock. Punt was 56 yards, and that return 18. ACC football on the CW returns next Saturday as the stout Wolfpack defense heads to Winston-Salem to face the hungry Demon Deacons. NC State Wake Forest next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, only on the CW. How about the longest uninterrupted series we will rekindle? The Wake Forest NC State series, as Wake lost a tough one, James, on Thursday against Duke on a last-second field goal.
Getting all the ones that go way back, have the South's oldest rivalry.
Did. What a game.
Oh, man, a couple weeks ago.
A win by Virginia on the road at North Carolina. That pass is on the turf and incomplete. Singleton Jr. unable to hang on. It's about the 3rd drop now from Georgia Tech wide receivers.
Well, it is, Tom, and it's number 2, unfortunately, for Singleton. Singleton had a big night. The speedster, 8 catches, 117 yards against North Carolina in the win last Saturday night. A long of 43, but he's got to catch that football, secure it before he uses those wheels.
Both of those numbers you mentioned, James, 8 catches, 117 yards, career highs for Singleton. King still has it. He's got a hole inside the 40 for King. Taken down by Cohen King. 11 yards for Haynes King, the sophomore.
Yeah, and a nice read here. Pulls it out, tucks it, and goes. And enough for the first down, move those chains. The sophomore spent 3 years there at A&M, but he will have 2 more years to play here for the Yellow Jackets after his transfer.
Inside of 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Jamal Haynes wrapped up by Paul Akiri and a loss of 2. Keary, 6'4", 270 along that front line for Virginia. And a transfer from Columbia.
Out of Carrollton, Texas. That's Texan on Texan right there. It was Keary who had the big play, the pressure on Drake May at the end of that game to help seal the deal as James Jackson ended the game with the football in his hands. The drive anyway for the Tar Heels to win it against number 10 UNC. Here's a 2nd down and 12 after the loss.
31-27 was the final in that win against North Carolina for Virginia. That pass in some traffic to Luke Benson, 6 yards from Haynes King.
Yeah, quite a bit of traffic right there, huh? I mean, there were 3 Cavaliers surrounding that football, unable to get a paw on it, but still you've got 3rd down and 6. Quite possibly 4-down territory here for Brent Key. We've mentioned a couple times, we've seen it already a couple times. He does like to go for it on 4th down. They need 6.
4 of 8 on 3rd down in the game for Georgia Tech. King again, waving his way. He's got room and to the end zone. Haynes King with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game for Georgia Tech.
Get all eyes on that fake to the jet sweep, and it gets those linebackers flying out of there. There you saw Ahern, who overruns his gap because thinking the ball's going outside, trying to get out there and help out on the jet sweep. Instead, it's Haynes King keeping it. And once again, not much friction as he makes his way down to the end zone. And Georgia Tech now a 10-point lead.
And now 5 rushing touchdowns on the season for Haynes King and 2 today. And Georgia Tech back in the end zone. King on the run.
There you see James Jackson and Ahern just trying to flow and get outside and stop that on a 3rd down and medium. But instead, no need for a 4th down try right there. King using his wheels.
And Georgia Tech, James, has lost 4 in a row here in Charlottesville against Virginia. Right now it's all Jackets trying to win for the first time in Charlottesville since 2013 when they won 35-25, 17 unanswered points after Virginia had thrown a TD pass, Colandrea to Rollins.
Yeah, Coach Brent Key, I had to ask. I knew we weren't going to get a very pleasant answer, but so how'd you do when you played there as a player? He said, don't ask. Don't ask. All right, you must know. You know, it wasn't pretty. 0 for 2 as a player, and then as a GA, after his playing days, he lost once and 2 more as an assistant.
2:24 to go in the half, and here's the lineup of the SEC transfers for Georgia Tech on offense, led by Haynes King and his 2 rushing TDs today, James.
Yeah, a couple Georgia Bulldogs in there. Brett Seither, who's from down in Clearwater, Florida, near Colandrea, his neck of the woods there in the Gulf of Mexico. Seither had the 2 touchdowns, big ones against North Carolina, including the game winner.
Seither started the day with 5 catches, 4 of them for touchdowns. Virginia has the football. That is incomplete to Mish. 2:16 on the clock in the 2nd quarter. Tony Muskett had to leave the game after the first series. He was favoring his leg as he walked off, as Trevor's reported to us, back on the field without shoulder pads and with that brace on the ankle for Muskett. Out of the game, Anthony Colandrea seeing action in his 5th game this season. Quick flip, left side, Fields.
You know, Tom, you got to wonder, Georgia Tech thinking maybe they had that football. Keenan Johnson, who knocked one out on a fumble, forced fumble earlier, won't get this one here, though. But, you know, how many reps would, you know, Brosterhouse has been the backup for the most part if it's just quick, fast, in a hurry, with Colandrea hoping to redshirt. How many reps in practice? How have they divided them up? Here's another important 3rd and short.
1 for 5 on 3rd down. That ball is deflected. Deflected on 3rd and short. And the pass attempt by Colandrea. 88 is Zeke Biggers.
Tom, the other time we had this Georgia Tech football team, it was at Wake. And Griffiths found out the hard way that these guys are long and they're well coached. If they can't get to the quarterback, they're going to use that mirror technique and get those hands up in the air time after time. We saw them knocking down balls against Griffiths in the win. They've done it a few times here against Colandrea.
Second tip by Biggers is a fair catch attempt at the 30 by Dominic Blaylock.
Having friends over for the next game? Just tell Siri. Text Sam. Don't forget the pizza.
Grab a slice of pizza.
I wonder if everybody's phone went off at home. Siri's really confused right now.
1:32 to go in this second quarter. Haynes King. A couple of rushing TDs to go along with his passing effort so far this afternoon.
Virginia will get the ball to start the second half, but they need to stop right here. This is plenty of time for Georgia Tech to drive. Virginia can't let them do it.
It's a first down the sidelines for Haynes. 12 yards on the rush for Haynes.
Nice blocking on the outside. There you saw on James Jackson. Perimeter blockers, Jaden Gibson there as well. He stepped out, I guess, a little bit further back up the field.
Still had enough for the first down. Down to about the 42. King likes to hang on to it, shakes a couple of Virginia Cavaliers down the sideline, adding to his career high in rushing, and then he gets bumped out of bounds late in the play, and a run of 29 yards for Haynes King.
Well, just to start, snap is high and hard. He gets tangled up there with the read, pulling the ball out of the belly of the back, and then it's off to the races, and a good job blocking downfield by his receivers, and an even better job perhaps by Jaden Gibson of pulling up and making sure he didn't get flagged. I beg your pardon, down there it's Janah.
King had 90 yards rushing a week ago, win against North Carolina. Flag is out on the play. Tried to rush it with Smith, only a yard and a penalty marker.
Holding offense, number 55. It's a 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
And James will see how that changes the strategy here for Georgia Tech. Only 1:08 to go here in the second quarter, but the 10-yard penalty.
Right side of your screen is where they're calling the hold, and there you see being held. It's Ben Smiley who's made some big plays here in this one and drawing the flag, and so an offense that was rolling, still plenty of time, but first down and 20. A little bit off schedule here.
And now we're inside of a minute to go, up 17-7 for Georgia Tech. King. Smith. Doing a little dance near the 40, taken down by Ahern. Only a yard for Georgia Tech.
You know, Ahern, when we saw him leave the field a few moments ago, you could tell he was in a lot of pain. Just had surgery on that thumb. He's got it all wrapped up, the big club, and left in a lot of pain. So it can't be easy to go out there and make plays, but he's doing just that, and that's a big one there. Not much of a gain at all. And a nice open field play.
So a timeout on the field. It's Chris Wenke in the middle of that huddle for Georgia Tech. Co-offensive coordinator, also the quarterback coach, Heisman Trophy winner in 2000, and national champion of Florida State in '99. That's a wealth of experience and knowledge on that sideline, James.
Oh yeah, Wenke 81 total touchdowns in his career at FSU, passed by Jordan Travis a few weeks ago. Some pretty good brains in that building in Atlanta. On the whole campus, I guess you could say, on both these campuses. These are grounds in the Charlottesville case.
Right. Florida State, one of the 8 undefeated teams in the Football Bowl subdivision. That's 6 yards for Haynes. So another timeout for Georgia Tech with 35 seconds to go. Haynes King throwing it But more prominently, James, today, rushing the football to the end zone twice.
Yeah, whatever it takes. He's a football player, grew up with a dad as one of the top high school coaches in the country. He was a Longview Lobo in East Texas. He's just a playmaker. Kid was born in the locker room, and I mean raised it in the football locker room. I talked to a friend of mine today. Tate Casey's his name, played tight end, a great tight end for the Florida Gators, won national championships there with Urban Meyer, and he actually played for John King, Haynes' dad. And he said, I was a sophomore when he was born, and I mean, he was always there. And every time he went back, he was always around the team. And well, it certainly shows that he grew up around the football.
Yeah, remember the story that offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner told us, that he made fast friends with King's dad. And then when he decided to transfer from Texas A&M, they jumped all over it. Here's the run. Smith breaking through, heading to the end zone. Dontae Smith, the rushing touchdown for Georgia Tech of 33 yards.
Just what a punch to the gut here. Virginia's got him on a second down and long after the holding penalty. Pushed him back. Good job initially up front, but after that, it's just guys not getting off blocks down the field in wrong angles. And Dontae Smith, the fresh legs of the young man who hasn't carried the football that much here in his senior year. And the 5'11", 198-pounder out of Spring Hill, Tennessee, just adding to that lead. Look at that, 195 on the ground here in the first half for these Yellow Jackets. And they've just extended that lead 24-7.
That's 24 unanswered points against Tony Elliott's Virginia Cavaliers, and the second rushing touchdown of the season for Dontae Smith. He had a TD rush last Saturday night in the home win against North Carolina, 46-42. In fact, Dontae Smith had 140 yards rushing in the fourth quarter alone, and he just took it in from 33 yards away.
All right, the family that preps for Armageddon together stays together. Watch the hot new comedy that critics are calling the fall's best original scripted series. New episodes of Everyone Else Burns airs Thursday, 9:30, 8:30 Central. And you can stream it free next day on the CW app. And this might be the last week I'm reading a promo card until we bring back F-Boy Island. Man, I had so much fun with it a couple weeks ago, but we haven't had a read for it yet, and I'm going to start pouting.
We'll see. Maybe
right.
Backed by popular demand from James Bates. Colandrea standing tall in the pocket, completing the pass, and up past the 35-yard line. That's good work for 12 yards on the pass play to Kobe Pace.
Okay. Kobe Pace refusing to go down there. 19 ticks remaining, and they'll use their first timeout.
Now remember, the final 2 minutes, James, of the second and fourth quarter, that clock will stop on a first down.
Just long enough for them to use that timeout. Still 2 remaining in the 19 seconds. Trevor, what's going on down there?
Just excited to get to halftime because we will have Haynes King on the sideline heading into the locker room. An offense that has been rolling as of late. We'll get you the details on just how rolling they've been thus far.
Man, you've been rolling. You were rolling at that Hyatt Place weight room this morning. I can tell.
Push-ups, baby. Pre-game push-ups. Yeah. Got to get to it.
Carrying luggage. Carrying luggage, going to the airport. Looking good, Trev. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Georgia Tech's been carrying the football. 195 rushing yards, as you mentioned, James. Flag is out on this play as Colandrea taken down at the 30. There are 2 penalty markers.
And both of them are going to be the same.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 11. That's a 15-yard penalty. The clock will start on the snap.
Yeah, this is an easy one here, and just trying to get a piece any way he can. It's Kevin Harris, transfer from Alabama, so add 15 on, but time's a wasting. 13 seconds to go. Got a pretty good kicker. And Bettridge, who has missed from 48 already in this game, though.
As long as 47 from last year. Washington finds a crease in that secondary, and he's down to the 22. Malik Washington with a grab. 25 yards on the play. Jalen King on the tackle.
There you go. A nice throw and a nice catch. Go to your playmaker and protection. Nice clean pocket. Great look at it right there by our camera crew. And Malik Washington dancing a little bit, but getting down just in time. And perhaps that's just what this UVA team needs, is they'll head into the halftime locker room if they can get 3 out of this and cut the lead to 14. A little bit of momentum. And as I mentioned earlier, they will get the ball to start the second half. A conversation between Anthony Colandrea and Tony Muskett. You got Tony, and Tony Elliott. And I asked Tony Elliott a couple weeks ago, so big question is, what's your favorite Tony song? And he said Anniversary.
Well,
Anniversary.
Let's see if Bettridge can do it again, as in made field goals. He's already missed from 48. This one 39 yards away for Will Bettridge. And now a timeout called. It's Georgia Tech going to take its final timeout.
When Will Bettridge, he's got that 41 on, and that's a special number around these parts. Deshaun Perry. They both went to Gulliver Prep back down to South Florida and Miami, and we lost Deshaun last year about this time, along with his teammates Lavelle Davis and Devin Chandler. So
coming up on the anniversary, James, of that tragedy, November 13th, taking the lives of Lavelle Davis, Devin Chandler, Deshaun Perry, their numbers all over this stadium, keeping their memory alive, and their teammates wearing their numbers in the game. That includes Will Bettridge, wearing that 41, worn by Perry, as James mentioned. 39-yard field goal attempt. Bettridge to add 3 for the Cavaliers, and he's got it.
That'll do it. Tony Elliott said they called him in high school.
Christian Leary, the deep man. Tom Wormy, James Bates, Trevor Scales, and our outstanding production crew with you in Charlottesville. For the second half, there will be no return from Leary. The ball bouncing into the end zone here at Scott Stadium.
Well, Tony Elliott mentioned it right there to Trevor, just guys out of position. And these are experienced guys. Guys like James Jackson, guys like Josh Ahern. They know better. Sometimes pressing too much when that run starts to work. Oh, let me just go help out a little bit and overrun, be a little bit too aggressive. You got to settle things down and shut down the big plays, make them drive the length.
King throws it complete to Leonard. Up the sideline, out of bounds, just short of the marker. Cohen King escorted him out. 8 yards on the play to Leonard. This Georgia Tech team, as we noted, James, at the top of the broadcast, they lose one, they win one, they lose one, they win one. They're trying to win back-to-back games for the first time since early October of last season. They won at Pitt and home against Duke, and that Pitt game was one of those wins in the ACC against a ranked opponent for Brent Key. He's done that twice this season, and 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, I dare you to say that to Brent Key's face.
I did in our meetings.
I know. On the Zoom, though.
It didn't go well, though.
No, and when he addressed it on Sunday night with his team, he said, look, the narrative all week is going to be the up and down, and it's also going to be the fact that we just cannot win in Charlottesville. That's not us.
King trying to create something from very little, and he got spun down for a 2-yard gain. Chico Bennett, in his second year in the Virginia program, number 15 defensively for Virginia, is a Georgia Tech transfer.
Playing against his old team, and for a change, it's a decent defense on first down. They've had a lot of success on first down, and I guess it won't matter on second and long. They will keep moving those chains as that pass is complete.
Singleton makes the catch for 12 yards into Virginia real estate. Third catch for Singleton. And they spot the ball at the 48 of Virginia with 4 fresh new downs for Georgia Tech and Haynes King.
In the first half, Singleton dropped a couple, and you see him just extra sure that he catches that when he tucked it into his belly and fell down. You know, you get a guy that's really feeling it and pretty confident. Catch that one, turn up, and get a few more yards, perhaps.
King. Flag came out as he stumbled down near the 45, just short of it. Caleb Hardy made the tackle. Flag, and the indication it is against.
Holding offense number 54. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So Jordan Williams, the junior from Gainesville, Georgia, flagged for the infraction of the penalty against Georgia Tech.
See if we can see a big man pulling around here and trying to come underneath was Ahern, and overrunning him that time was Jordan Williams, so he had to reach back and try to get a piece of him. So here's a holding that takes him back to 1st and 20, just like we saw at the end of the first half.
21st pass attempt of the game for King, on schedule, on time, and into the end zone. Eric Singleton Jr. and the touchdown for the Yellow Jackets.
So here you go. The first catch will just make it the sure thing. A little stutter and go, and just enough time for the speedster, who runs a sub 10.4 100-meter dash. Out of Douglasville, Georgia, Eric Singleton. He's back to his ways of making plays, just like he was last week against UNC, putting that speed to work.
James, a 58-yard pass play for Georgia Tech.
Nice clean pocket and a beautifully thrown football right in stride. Tech comes out of the locker room buzzing.
8 yards, and the 22nd of the season to lead the ACC for Haynes King as he found Eric Singleton Jr. Let's check in with Trevor.
You see Mike Hollins there, no shoulder pads, no helmet, just trotted out of the locker room. We will effort to find out what exactly is going on with him, but it appears that the senior running back will not return to today's contest after rushing for 25 yards on 5 attempts.
Thank you, Trevor. Hate to see that. The leader of this football team in so many ways, they're on the sidelines. They've got 2 other backs in Paris Jones and Kobe Pace that are capable but will be missed. Number 7.
Now, Hollins had 2 rushing touchdowns in the loss at overtime at Miami a week ago for Virginia, which is 2-6 on the season, 1-3 in conference play. And Tony Elliott made it a point to tell us, and James, you mentioned it, he has not won a home ACC game since taking over last year. Trying to do it today, it will be from come from behind fashion if they're able to do it. Paris Jones on the carry for 5 yards, and Eford has the stop.
Eford, good angle and bringing the wood right there. 3rd down and 3.
Washington gets hit almost immediately. Kennan Johnson with the initial contact, only a yard, and now 4th and about 2. It looks like the punting unit coming onto the field, and Daniel Sparks for Virginia.
Great job, number 10. Kennan Johnson's fired up, and he should be. That's the way you shut down that playmaker on the edge. You react and step up and make the play.
Not what the folks on Family Weekend were looking for here at Scott Stadium. The Sparks has to come out and punt. Blaylock is deep. He's near his 23-yard line. Bit of a low snap for Sparks. That'll bounce. Takes a nice Virginia bounce. Perhaps inside the 30. And they'll mark it at about the 20. 58 yards to Eric Singleton Jr. 6th receiving TD of the season to lead the team. And he gets congratulations from his head coach, Brent Key, who wore Tech gold, blue and white back in the day as Key was an offensive lineman. Smith on the carry for 6 yards. Georgia Tech last won in this series in 2018. That was a win at home in overtime. Wesley Wells hit a 40-yarder in OT to beat Virginia, which had made a field goal with a second to go in regulation. Last win here, James, 2013 for the Georgia Tech football program.
4-14-1 all time. And talked for a while about Brent Key's struggles as a player and coach here, but not so far in this football game. 10:30 about left to play in the third quarter, and this offense just continues to drive behind their sophomore quarterback Haynes King, and now they'll hurry it up.
16 yards to Blaylock. The handoff Smith. He gets tracked down near midfield. It's good hustle by Chico Bennett to get to the running back. Loss of 1 for Georgia Tech.
You know, Virginia really could use a big turnover here in this situation. Unable to force a turnover here today. Georgia Tech on the other hand too. But most of all, you got to make them drive the length of the field. And, you know, more plays, more opportunities for something to go wrong. But now 4 explosive plays by this offense here in this game against Virginia.
King had the man open, led him too far. Leonard with an all-out effort trying to reach for it. He's one of 9 different receivers that King has used in this game, but they could not collaborate in that instance.
Yeah, you're right there, Tom. I'm sure Haynes King wants that one back, because that one was a first down and a whole lot more. For big Dylan Leonard, makes a good effort to reach out and try to pull it in, but instead it's 3rd and 11.
6 of 10 on 3rd down. 5 of their last 6 converted on 3rd down. King tosses it. Smith at the 40, lunging for the first down, and it looks like he's got enough. Near the 38, they got 12 yards on the play. King to Smith. Jackson and McDonald combine on the stop.
Dontae Smith has been so good for this team over the last couple weeks. He was the star running back against UNC and doing it on the ground and through the air. Caught it about 2 or 3 yards shy of that first down marker, but carried a few hooves with him to move those chains.
Ref cam showing us that first down effort. Smith catch up with him. Aaron Famui, 6th-year graduate student from Hawaii, part of the play. James Jackson, who had the game-sealing interception in the upset win against North Carolina. Loss of 3 on the play.
Yeah, Faumui and his wife Tracy, they had a baby boy in June, and he named him St. Oshawn Faumui, or Deshaun rather. Deshaun, of course, after Deshaun Perry, one of his best friends here on this team.
Georgia Tech keeping it on the ground. Inside the 40 for Jamal Haynes. The sophomore got 3. Got the loss back, but now it's still 3rd and long for Georgia Tech. Haynes ran for 80 yards and a touchdown in the win last Saturday night in Atlanta against North Carolina. Here's 3rd and long for Georgia Tech.
Let's see if Rudd brings a couple guys here to back him out. Only 4-man rush.
King with the deep ball. Is it the money ball? Oh, it was incomplete. Looking for Singleton Jr. again, and Dre Walker got back there.
Good job by Walker. A little bit of space, a little bit too much for comfort, but able to reach out there with the long arms last second and just knock it away. A lot of times when you're in that trail, not quite in phase on the hip, you want to keep that head down, but able to find that ball and swat it down. Here they're going for it on 4th now.
Second time they've done this in the game. They converted the first attempt. Tremendous play by Dre Walker in the Virginia secondary. Full extension, knocking that one away, incomplete to bring up 4th and 10. Flag is out. Play clock is empty.
Delay game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And that's just the punter's preference. It sure paid off in the first half. Remember Shanahan, they let the play clock expire and added 5 yards onto it, and Shanahan just drilled it down at about the 5-yard line. Defense came out, got to stop and put him in good field position. Let's see if he can do the same right here.
Shanahan blasted a 61-yard punt in the win against North Carolina a week ago. See if he can pin Virginia. Tries a lower trajectory. It takes a bounce and it goes into the end zone. 43 yards on the punt. What a play by Dre Walker. Look at this defensive play. Just barely knocks it away with the fingertips and keeps it a 21-point game.
Injured shoulder, Anthony Colandrea, who was in for him after being injured early in the season against Tennessee. And that's Colandrea in there right now. We have the shot, of course, of Brosterhouse, Brady Brosterhouse as well. That's Bryant getting those hands up again and knocking down the football.
The completion by Brosterhouse was the first of the season for him. Had a couple of rushes prior to that. There's Musket on the sideline, no pads, ankle brace. Had to leave after the first series, giving way to Brosterhouse, and now Colandrea trying to get something started here in the second half. A 7-yard pass play to Malik Washington, who, by the way, has 34 straight games, and that includes his time at Northwestern, with a catch. And now he's got 6 today for Washington. He is electric and exciting, and he's going to have to be part of any sort of comeback. 1 for 7 on 3rd down in the game, Virginia. Colandrea's pass is off target and bouncing around on the turf looking for Kobe Pace. Not what Virginia was looking for. The punting unit's on the field.
Yeah, blitz was coming and seemed to be picked up okay as Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator, looks on. And you know, one thing they haven't been able to do, especially the last couple of weeks, is challenge these defenses deep. And when defenses don't worry that you're going to run by them on every snap, they certainly can lock down and play a little bit different, a little bit more aggressive on some of those shorter routes, and of course against the run as well.
Sparks with the punt. Blaylock wants a fair catch. It goes back near the 25 and makes it 47 yards on that punt. ACC football on the CW returns next Saturday as the stout Wolfpack defense heads to Winston-Salem to face the hungry Demon Deacs. NC State Wake Forest next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, only on the CW. We are headed to Winston-Salem for one of the longest uninterrupted series in the entire nation. The Demon Deacs and the Wolfpack, who last week posted an incredible victory against Clemson at home in Raleigh. Tigers a winner today against Notre Dame, so they avoid losing 3 games in a row.
Good news on an NC State front. Good news on a football fan front, unless he's playing against your team. Peyton Wilson there in Raleigh tonight, trying to tack on another win.
By the way, James, with the win, Dabo Swinney now the all-time leader in victories for head coaches in the history of Clemson football, because we documented that story last week, where Dave Doran tied Earl Edwards for the most victories in the history of NC State football, and it was the 100th win for Doran as a head coach. Back to the action here in Charlottesville. Georgia Tech has the football. They're in the white, Virginia in the blue. Jamal Haynes on the carry. I mean, the rush game today for Georgia Tech, considering what they did last week, James, 348 yards on the ground against North Carolina in the upset win, and today the rush yards up over 200 for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, and it was something. Remember a couple weeks ago, Hampton, they started to roll a little bit, talking about North Carolina on the ground, but they would go away from it. And here's a big 3rd down. They'll move those chains. This offense just clicking right now. Buster Faulkner dialing them up, and Haynes King able to deliver around to all of his weapons. Jamal Haynes, Dontae Smith, and those receivers.
Yeah, for the 2nd straight week, Haynes King using 9 different receivers to complement the throw game for Georgia Tech. I mean, James, if you look at King, you see poise, composure, confidence. The handoff now. That's an experienced quarterback and an impact transfer in this conference, if not the entire country. 5 yards on that play by Smith.
Yeah, you know, and toughness is another thing that really stands out. Talking with, as I mentioned earlier, Tate Casey, who played at Florida, a tight end, and rival to Chris Winke's Florida State Seminoles, but that's okay. We can be friends on this broadcast, right? but in Tate Casey, who went to Longview, which is where Haynes King went and played for his dad, he said, well, one thing that you'd expect out of a kid out of Longview High School out of East Texas, if he's not dead, he's playing. No matter how bad he's hurt, he's going to play for you. And, you know, just a tough guy, and playing through a lot of injuries and playing tough. And that's one thing that Tony Muskett did really throughout this year, was to just play through those injuries with that shoulder, but unable to go when he injured the ankle here today. But yeah, they've got a pretty good one out of the transfer portal, just as Virginia, when the transfer portal came around, I mean, they got one of the steals of the year with Malik Washington that transferred from Northwestern. And Haynes King is looking pretty good as well.
Rutherford wrangled out of bounds. It will stop the clock. Well, it's rolling now. 6-yard play. Tony Elliott's team trailing 31-10 after the OT loss a week ago on the road at Miami. Mark Fletcher had the game-winning 11-yard TD run in overtime for the Canes, who made a late field goal, a 48-yarder, to send it to OT. Tried the middle with limited success, and a couple of players tangled up as Haynes got flung out of there.
Nice job to step up and make the play by Buchanan. But again, Buchanan, Jackson, and those guys over on the defensive side love to try to punch that football out. Second guy in there. Try to get a freebie, get that ball in decent field position and get it back in your offense's hands. Try to chip away at this lead. Not bad. The numbers for Georgia Tech on third down, 8 of 13.
Virginia got to catch the running back in the backfield and drop Haynes. Valmui first on the scene. Buchanan's there as well, and a loss of 2.
Here's big Aaron Valmui. Good job of just beating the block. Williams trying to come over and block him, and here's a good call by Brent Key, who really likes to go for it on fourth down. But in this situation, to make them drive the entire length of the field, your defense is playing so well. See what they get out of Shanahan.
Davies wants a fair catch, makes it near the 8. That punt of Shanahan's 35 yards and inside the Virginia 10, and that's where they'll start after the Shanahan punt. Virginia overall 198 yards of total offense. They need to add to it in a hurry, get back in this one. As we look at the standings in the ACC, Florida State undefeated, James, right behind them Louisville and Virginia Tech, fighting for that potentially second spot in the ACC title game, because if Florida State wins today, they're going to Charlotte.
Yeah, how about that? How about the Hokies? The surprise Hokies may be 4-4 overall, but only one loss in the ACC.
Now, Boston College also won last night against Syracuse at the Dome, and BC mathematically still has a chance at that title game. Certainly Virginia Tech and Louisville playing one another, both with one loss. In fact, we had the upset loss for Louisville as it traveled to Pitt. I mean, how about the last few weeks of games, James, that we've presented on the CW here in the ACC?
Even going back to that Marshall game, Marshall at NC State was a heck of a game. Seeing if they can get Georgia Tech on their heels a little bit and get something rolling, get into a little bit of a rhythm.
Colandrea through the progression. Flushed out of that pocket, up the middle and sliding safely into second base with a first down. Colandrea, 12 yards on the scamper. Looked a lot like Haynes King on that run. Colandrea getting it done. Little play fake, looking to throw. Open man, 45-yard line and close to first down yardage. It's enough to Washington and 11 on the play. Washington with that catch, over 1,000 yards receiving for the season. Quite an effort there from Washington, diving for that one along with Jamal King. It's a clean play. Trevor?
This is that tempo that UVA has been trying to find some success with throughout the entirety of the season. It's a momentum builder. If you can string together successful plays, that's exactly what Tony Elliott is hoping this offense can do on this drive specifically.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevor, and unable to come up with the completion there after they had back-to-back successful plays. Jamal King did good job coming underneath, defending. But you're right, it really changes things up for a defense who's been playing hard now going into the fourth quarter, perhaps gassed a little bit when they can't make substitutions.
Colandrea trying to follow his blockers up to the 49. He got 3 yards on the play, and that will be the final play of the third quarter, 31-10.
15 minutes with just that, a third down and long.
7th play of the drive, 1 of 8 on third down. This is Pace. Sidestepped the man at the 50 and took it down to the 42. 9 yards and a first down. Scott made the tackle on Kobe Pace, the senior. Just the second converted third down of the game for Virginia.
A big one, too, at that. So here we go. Plenty of time again. All 3 timeouts. But you got to put it in the end zone and get some stops starting right now.
Colandrea launches it out of bounds. Pursuit coming from that Georgia Tech front line. Anthony Colandrea had to come into this game for his offensive coordinator, Des Kitchings, in his second year. Kitchings spent a little time in the NFL as a running backs coach for the Atlanta Falcons, and 8 years at NC State as an assistant. Gonna have to figure it out here in the fourth, James, trailing 31-10. Try the ground game with Paris Jones. 4 yards for Jones.
You know, again, the lack of the explosive plays, and credit to the Georgia Tech defense for making sure that is the case. But the ability every now and then take a shot downfield, and that's really the way they started the game. Remember the interception right off the bat by Miles Sims. It was a long ball to Malachi Fields. Looked like he was going to catch it, but ripped away. They've got some receivers. They just got to take a few shots downfield. Maybe you get a big flag. Maybe you come down with a 50-50 ball.
From the 39 on third down for Colandrea. Spins it down toward the sideline. It's too far. Fields was back there for Virginia. Rodney Shelley in coverage. Now the question presented to the Cavaliers. The ball's at the 39 and it's fourth down, James, and you're trailing 31-10.
If you had the quick hitters in your back pocket, hey, maybe we punt it away. And at the same time, if your defense was doing a better job of getting off the field, which they haven't been, Georgia Tech's been able to run it. I think you have to go for it here.
And they will. 1 for 1 on fourth down in the game for Virginia. Colandrea looking left. It's batted away. The pass was intended for Fields and deflected away. Kenan Johnson, who forced a fumble in the second quarter that turned into 7 points, makes the play defensively.
Kenan Johnson's had a great afternoon. Tried to get a little push.
Plenty of time to go here in the fourth quarter. 13 minutes, 24 seconds, although Georgia Tech has been strong offensively. 394 yards of total offense, led by Haynes King, the sophomore quarterback and a transfer from Texas A&M. A couple of rushing TDs and a passing TD of 58 yards in the third quarter by King to Singleton.
But you know, Tom, as good as the offense has looked, I think really the story of the day is a defense that comes in last in total defense, last in rushing defense in the ACC. And I mean, and they have just stoned Virginia time after time. They've shut down that run game. They've shut down Colandrea, that quarterback who had to come in and fill in for Tony Muskett. And they've done a really good job in the secondary shutting down those receivers.
This is the Georgia Tech we expected, second best in the ACC in total offense. Blasting through, past midfield, Dontae Smith down near the 40. Smith doing the heavy lifting on the pass from Haynes for 22 yards.
Yeah, big gap in this season where Dontae Smith didn't have his hands on the ball running it. He didn't have his hands on the ball for 5 games that he was in. He had 1 pass catch. So the fresh legs and the hunger, every time he gets his paws on the ball right now, he's trying to make something happen. He certainly did against North Carolina and has gone back-to-back games with some big hitters as he continues to do it against Virginia today.
33-yard touchdown run in the game for Smith as well, the 14th of his career. This play is to Singleton, 4 yards. Falmouy on the tackle.
You know, Aaron Falmouy, talking him up a little bit earlier, but he's just fun to watch. That motor to go out there and to catch that speedster, just turn and burn. That ball's thrown, just great effort. This is what you always expect when you watch 94. He's fun to watch on tape. All those guys up front, Jameer Carter, Chico Bennett.
King caught over the middle. Ball came out at the end, so did a flag. Scooped up. It was Janan who had the catch and then fumble potentially here. Kyle ran it back. Let's sort this out. Also a penalty marker thrown back at the 20. Got a lot to figure out here. Jeff Flanagan will do it for us.
Yeah, it's this one, unfortunately for Virginia, will be overturned here. Jeff Flanagan from Chattanooga.
Personal foul, targeting on the defense. That play is under further review.
Yeah, so the rule. First of all, the first look is the defender leading with the crown of his helmet, which happens here. But also, it's a defenseless player that you target the head or neck area. So no matter how you slice it, this is a pretty easy call and the right call on the field. But unfortunately, that's just what Wahoo fans needed, was a little bit of a spark and a turnover perhaps, but that won't be the case.
Limiting that last play, being reviewed for targeting. He is in collaboration with the command center in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Malcolm Green is the defender, number 8 in blue. Jenna, the receiver.
After further review, personal foul for targeting on number 8 is confirmed. Number 8 is disqualified. It was a catch, then a fumble. The penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal from the 20-yard line. First down for Georgia Tech.
So Green will not be available for the first half of the next game for Virginia, which is Thursday on the road at Louisville. It's a short week for the Cavaliers. Still looking for that comeback here in the 4th, trailing 31-10.
And that would be tough. That would, way back when, we had face masks, but we didn't have targeting penalties. It would be tough to, get ready for a game and have to sit and wait until the second half to go in there and be with your teammates ready to go. But that's the way it is. And I believe the numbers are, the targeting calls are just over 1 targeting call ejection in every 5.5 games, I think is what it is. So it's out there, and at first I didn't love it, but I think it's a very necessary rule, and I like that it's protecting the health, the long-term health of a lot of these these student athletes.
First and goal from the 10, Georgia Tech. Blasting through down towards the goal line and in for Dontae Smith, who would not be denied. Takes it the 10 yards to the house for Georgia Tech.
Brent Key, he's really happy, not only with the way that Dontae Smith has played out on the football field, but he's battled through some injuries and really become a great leader and a big part of this football team. After that absence from carrying the football, and he's carrying it with some passion, that's for sure. And most importantly for Yellow Jackets, they're looking pretty good about turning the tide of all the losses.
Celebrations and bear hugs on that sideline for Georgia Tech. Brent Key's Yellow Jackets lead it 38-10. In a place, James, where they have not had a lot of recent success, but that is immaterial at the moment. Out in front after the second rushing touchdown of the game by Dontae Smith of 10 yards. He now has 3 rushing TDs in the last 2 games, and those are all of his touchdown runs this season.
You know, and there are a lot of things that kind of turn the tide of the way things have gone for Georgia Tech. Not just a lot of success here. They're looking pretty good to get a win. The first time since, what, 2013, did you say? Since
here in Charlottesville. Yes.
You know, back-to-back wins, which was the huge thing this year. They'd win one, then they'd lose one, no matter who it was. Bowling Green came to town. And another one is these big leads that would just evaporate in the second half throughout the season, able to come out of the halftime locker room and score on the opening drive of the second half.
Georgia Tech led 24-10 at halftime. They've increased that to 38-10. Here's what's left for the Yellow Jackets, traveling to Clemson, which defeated Notre Dame today, James.
Yeah, Dabo and the Tigers rallying a little bit, taking it back to Death Valley and getting that win. Quick with the snap, and then we saw Syracuse and then the mighty Georgia Bulldogs coming to town. Interestingly enough, a lot of the handful of assistant coaches on this Georgia Tech staff at some point had spent some time there in Athens up the road.
Zeke Biggers down for Georgia Tech. That meeting with Georgia will be the 117th meeting with the Bulldogs at the end of the season. Good work done so far by Georgia Tech, and we'll check on Biggers when we come back. ACC football on the CW here in the fourth quarter. 10:18 to go in regulation. 38-10 is the lead for Georgia Tech. Virginia coming into the game with a 2-6 record, 1-3 in conference play. Georgia Tech 4-4, 3-2 in the conference. Colandrea, Fields reaching for it, can't get to it. Late flag.
Holding defense number 10. It's a 10-yard penalty. It carries an automatic first down.
Goes against Kenan Johnson. Virginia, James, took a 7-0 lead against Key's Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, but it has been all Georgia Tech from that point forward. 24-10 at halftime, 38-10 here in the fourth. Colandrea, Fields couldn't hang on.
Well, even on that last play, with the holding, ball still went in and out of the hands of Malachi Fields. And here's the last play. Take a look at it. There's the hold. So that's a good call. And, well, I guess that one's a little bit long. But this one right here, things like that, you know, you're trying to scrap and find a way to get something good going for the offense. You got to hang on to those balls that are in your hands.
Colandrea has an open man inside the 40, and it's Fields. Breaks a tackle. And then spins down near the 25. They'll mark him inside of that. Kenan Johnson on the stop. That play from Colandrea to Fields, 28 yards. Johnson slow to get up for Georgia Tech on that Virginia sideline. Tony Muskett started this game for Virginia. Colandrea came in, threw a touchdown pass of 9 yards to Rawlings in the first quarter. That's the only TD for Tony Elliott's team. It's a short week, James, at Louisville. coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, a quick turnaround, and it'll be a rocking house there in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville taking on Virginia Tech today, and that's who Virginia will end the season with. But they're having some good times and some big games there in Louisville. The big win over Notre Dame earlier this year, and then went on the road the next week, though, and fell to Pitt. Pitt, by the way, right now on top of Florida State in the second quarter, 7-0.
That upset by Pitt against Louisville, you saw it right here on the CW. Here's the replay of the exchange, Fields and Johnson.
Just twisting around there, Kenan Johnson
Johnson made a huge play in this game, James. The forced fumble back in the second quarter. Jalen King fell on it. Then a 16-play drive for Georgia Tech to get it in the end zone. 7 points off of the 2 turnovers by Virginia. So Johnson to the sideline. Colandrea, the freshman quarterback, in for the injured Musket. Left early in this game. Fields again is the selected target down near the 15. Might be a little bit short of the stick. 9 yards on the play for Virginia.
You know, Georgia Tech, they're content. Go ahead and chip away all you want. That clock is also ticking down. Now down under 9:20 left to play.
Washington, first down to the 8-yard line. Virginia also lost Mike Hollins in this game too, James. So Musket and Hollins not available at the moment. 8 yards on that previous play.
Yeah, Ahern, they lost Ahern, but he came back in playing there defensively.
Colandrea down towards the goal line, diving forward and in for the touchdown. What an effort from Kobe Pace after the catch. And an 8-yard TD toss from Colandrea, his second of the day.
Go. Little something good going for the hometown Wahoos, and we'll take a look at it, of course, and that one should stand. Certainly looked like that ball crossed the plane before his knee went down. Good look from the ref, and yeah, touchdown. Kobe Pace. Good effort for the transfer from Clemson. Trust. It was good.
Third receiving TD of the season for Kobe Pace. Colandrea with his 2 TD passes today is up to 8 for the year. 8 yards to Kobe Pace, 38-17. Well, it's one of the most storied conferences in all of college basketball with some of the country's best teams. This December, ACC basketball comes to the CW with 14 weeks of doubleheader action. CW courtside, Saturday, tips off December 2nd, only on the CW. We are courtside, and this is how we get it started. Miami, under Jim Larinaga, to the Final Four a season ago to host Notre Dame. Micah Shrewsbury is the new head coach for the Irish. Georgia Tech and its new head coach, Amari Stoudemire, against John Shire and Duke, the defending champs in the ACC. Those are the 2 matchups.
So who you got? Who's your first game?
I believe I'll be in Atlanta.
Okay. Oh, you don't know
Duke
yet?
and Georgia Tech. Oh, it's a surprise. It's like Christmas.
Really? That is like
Christmas comes early.
Christmas for me, too. Here we go with the onside kick, and recovered nicely by Georgia Tech, and it got a decent hop out of it to get some air underneath it. But a good job by Seither, who had the 2 touchdowns in the win over North Carolina.
First attempted onside kick of the season for Virginia.
So you want your
1 second came off the clock. 8:46 on the clock, please.
You want your tough guys and your guys with good hands there on that front line, and I think Seither, he checks off both of those boxes and has the ball back in the hands of Haynes King in this offense.
So Zach Pyron has come into the game at quarterback for Georgia Tech. He flipped that one to Haynes. Pyron saw action last year, classified as a redshirt freshman this season from Pinson, Alabama. 6'3", 208 pounds.
Just like his head coach, Brent Keys, an Alabama boy, made his way to Atlanta to play for Georgia Tech. Key from Clay, Alabama.
Pyron saw action in 3 games last season, including his first career start at Virginia Tech. Threw for over 250 yards and engineered the fourth quarter comeback 27-16 to win it 28-27. Breaking away Haynes, and he's going to go the distance. Jamal Haynes to the end zone, and that play took 43 yards as he took it to the house. That is the 5th rushing touchdown of the game for Georgia Tech and Haynes.
Wow, look at that little shake there in open field. Great job. One cut guy, and showing you right there. One cut, and then he gets to full speed in a hurry. Dre Walker there right in the open. And not an easy task to drop the little big man, Jamal Haynes, with all that space. Here's one more look at it, and a good job this entire game by that offensive line up front. And then the skills guys doing the rest. The hustle from big Luke Benson there to hug him up in a hurry.
How about Haynes, James? 119 yards rushing in the TD and 280 total rush yards for Georgia Tech in this game. Georgia Tech came into the game second in the conference, James, 191 yards rushing per game. And the 119 by Haynes, that's a career high.
Well, Haynes, he hasn't always been a running back. He was just roasting guys on the scout team. They were down in numbers at running back, so they moved him over, and glad he did. You know, when Dontae Smith wasn't running things like he is right now, they really leaned on him and Trey Cooley quite a bit.
Washington. He's up there midfield. Very little quit in that young man, despite what's on the scoreboard with Georgia Tech racing towards its second consecutive victory for the first time since early October of last season. 25 yards on the return. So from the 48, so Washington continues to pile up the catches, 8 for 82 yards. We'll find Harrison. He'll step out of bounds, stop the clock. So Virginia moving it down to the 38 of Georgia Tech.
You know, long way to go, and you got to treat it as such, and with a little bit more of a sense of urgency, perhaps. And here comes a hold. As Colandrea is trying to keep it alive and make something out of nothing. It could be a good chunk more if that flag is a hold.
Indication from Jeff, from Jeff Flanagan.
Holding offense number 54. It's a 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Just one of those days, something finally seems to go right for Tony Elliott's team, and to turn it back and go the other way with the flag. And so 7:09, and you know, we talked about the games that we've called the last month or so, you know, way back to that March game, and they've all been so tight. And we've had those upsets. We had, you know, as you mentioned, the Pitt over Louisville, Virginia over North Carolina. I just knew that this one was going to be a great game. Just surprised that it's really been so lopsided. And there's a heck of a play breaking on that football, and Miles Sims, the transfer from Michigan, going back home to Atlanta where he went to Westlake High School, and just reacting. These guys that read and react and can go have the ability to go make these plays, they help themselves out so much. And so much of it is making these plays in space. And if that offensive guy with the ball in his hands doesn't have his shoulders square, you're helping yourself out so much.
Completed the 45-yard line and down near the 40 for Washington. He's up over 100 yards receiving. That's his 10th catch of the game. That's 4 straight games, James, with 100 yards or more receiving for Washington. Never been done in the history of Virginia football.
If I'm not mistaken, it's now 6 or 7 games total, and I don't think that's ever been done in one season. Good job here defensively by Eddie Kelly. Dowson there as well. Kelly slow to get up, but finally popping up.
Yeah, that is the 7th time that Washington's gone over 100 yards receiving. So Tony Elliott's team, which took Miami to overtime a week ago after winning 2 games in a row, first against William and Mary and then on the road right here on the CW in Chapel Hill against North Carolina, number 10 in the nation at the time. In fact, that was the first top 10 win on the road for Virginia in the history of this program.
Yep. They were 0 for 30 prior to that on the road against top 10 teams.
The first year of football here was 1888. They're in their 134th season of football. Georgia Tech not far behind, the 131st year of football for the Yellow Jackets, and it appears, James, they're on their way to celebrating back-to-back victories. And by the way, Georgia Tech so strong on the road against ACC opponents. If they win today, they're 6-1 in their last 7 road games, and the defense does it again, tracking down Colandrea, although a flag came out after the play by Kennard. But it bears repeating, James. 6-1 on the road in the ACC in their last 7. If Georgia Tech maintains this lead.
We've had this a few times here today. Guys just trying to get a piece, and they end up grabbing that face mask as they run on by, and that's what this will be probably.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 9. It's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
So 45-17, keeping in mind that Virginia did lose Tony Muskett right after the first series of this game. Colandrea came in through a TD pass. It was 7-0 Virginia, and then all Brent Key and the Jackets from that point forward. Impressive performance, both sides of the football. Colandrea, after the penalty, throws on the run, down near the pylon. Incomplete, looking for Fields. Now Washington and Fields, James, one of the most impressive duos as far as receiving in the entire ACC. In fact, they led the conference in combined yardage. Fields and Washington.
Jalen King over there trying to play center field and come high point that ball, but out of bounds. You see Kennard, the effort coming around that edge. He wanted one back. He lost one on the face mask call. He wanted to try to get another sack, but couldn't get there. Another
catch for Washington. Malik Washington, 5'8", 194 pounds, graduate student, Lawrenceville, Georgia, and a transfer from Northwestern, first year in the Virginia program.
And talking with Tony Elliott, Des Kitchings yesterday, they talked about the whole recruitment process of both Muskett and Washington as they transferred. Here's Washington again, and they said they went to see Muskett and said, all right, in New Jersey, they're like, hey, we're on our way to Chicago. We're going to go get this guy. What do you think? He's like, oh, it looks like a pretty good guy to throw to. So they both came to town, and they've been roommates ever since, and hooked up many times this season.
Intercepted at the 3 and returned by Jalen King. Takes it out near the 15. Jalen King with a fumble recovery and now an interception in the 4th.
Jalen King's been very active today as well. There you see, just reading the eyes of Colandrea. And the senior from Laverne, Tennessee. Skip, where's Laverne, Tennessee? Nashville area? I don't know. Is there a Shirley, Tennessee? Oh, no? Okay.
Oh, boy. Not a show on the CW. By the way, Georgia Tech, they've been a complete swarm today, James. Last Tuesday was the season finale of the Swarm. I hope you watched because it was exciting.
Okay, that's not fair. Because you can incorporate your favorite CW show other than football.
Be creative, Bates.
But for me to throw in an F-Boy Island, comparing it to somebody, that just doesn't work. So that's not fair.
Georgia Tech, what a performance. Haynes King, a huge part of it. He's got the helmet on the sideline. I'm pretty sure he's not coming back in.
He's charting.
He's ready, though.
Always, he's charting him down. He's doing his job. I mean, that's the son of a coach. And, you know, I was asking Mike Flynn, the sports information director at Georgia Tech, does his dad get to see him play? Because he's always coaching that Friday night game back in Texas. And he said, oh, yeah, he makes it every game.
Oh, just got the play away. Pyron will keep it.
He had to fight to keep it, didn't he? He didn't want to let it go.
He's got a first down, it looks like, too. He does. You know, with King, this is what he's done today, okay? But in his prior 8 games, James, in the ACC, he's only the second player since 2000. 2,100-plus pass yards, 450-plus rush yards, over 20 touchdown passes. Who's the other player? All he did was win a Heisman Trophy at Louisville and Lamar Jackson. You're in the same sentence with Lamar Jackson and Joey Hamilton.
Wow.
Because Hamilton had 19 TD passes through 8 games. King, prior to today, had 21. The best through 8 games in Georgia Tech football history. So you're in the same sentence with Lamar Jackson and Joey Hamilton, who was runner-up for the Heisman Trophy.
Not bad company.
Which, by the way, in '99 was won by Ron Dane. Here you go. So the record there, you see Hamilton with a record of 29 in '99. King today had that 58-yard TD pass to Eric Singleton Jr., who made up for a couple of drops in a big way.
Yeah, he did. That was good to see. Georgia Tech fans, they need all these playmakers to be feeling pretty good, in a good rhythm. And he got out of that funk of dropping those 2 big ones early on.
Georgia Tech is up over 500 yards of total offense. Last week they had 635 in the win against North Carolina. But this time the defense also stepped up. They gave up 577 yards to North Carolina in the win last week. Today's a different story. Virginia's at 348, but relatively quiet as far as 348 yards of total offense goes.
Yeah, and you know, that said, I don't know that we've mentioned the name Kevin Scherrer enough here in this game, the defensive coordinator who took over a few weeks ago. He's just has done a great job as turned this defense around, and there's a new energy, new life, and they've done a better job of tackling. Brent Key, and I'm sure it was tough to make a change in the middle of the season, but sometimes you got to do some things that aren't easy.
You know, James, as great as the win was against North Carolina for Brent Key, I mean, what did he tell us right away? It's like, we're moving on. We got business to attend to, and they have certainly done that against Tony Elliott's team this afternoon. In a game that we really thought would be a lot closer, although in defensive Virginia, they did lose starting quarterback Tony Muskett very early in this game. And also Mike Hollins, who led the team in rushing TDs. That's going to be ruled an incomplete pass.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete forward pass. 3rd down.
First win here for Georgia Tech since 2013. Only 4 previous wins here in Charlottesville in this series that goes back to 1965. In the 45th meeting, we'll go to the Yellow Jackets with 43 seconds to go. That'll stop the clock. I think he's ready to go back to Atlanta.
Yeah, Brent Key is not happy, coaching to the very end. Whoa, that's somebody remind coach. You know, it's been tough to get a win here, 45-17. But you know, these guys are just competitive to the very end. But it's going to feel good once they get on that plane heading back to Atlanta.
Davies is deep. Scoops up the ground ball to 12. He gets rudely sent out of bounds by Georgia Tech coverage. This will also be back-to-back wins for Georgia Tech. And then again, that road record in the ACC. In their last 7 games, they'll move to 6-1 on the road in conference, which is astounding. Had to do it against a Virginia team that had a little bit of momentum, even though they had lost in overtime to Miami last week. They had put together wins against William and Mary in North Carolina. So Virginia is going to drop to 2-7, 1-4 in conference play. 1-3 here at Scott Stadium. Georgia Tech will go to 5-4 and 4-2 in the ACC.
That might have been a little smile there from Brent Key, and Brent Key trying to cover it up like you're covering up calling ball plays. He covered up with a smile with his hand. He didn't want to show his soft side.
They have to travel to Clemson next Saturday to take on the Tigers. They've lost 8 in a row in that series with the Tigers, but the important thing today, first back-to-back win since early October of last season for this Georgia Tech program. On a day where Virginia scored first, but then it was all Georgia Tech.